Alright, so in this section, we are going to see a demo of an evaluation workflow. I'm going to show you the application first, right? So if you click on the URL, it will direct you to a page that looks like this. Okay, so the first step, this is the page. So the first thing is this application has been built on OpenAI ChatGPT API key. So very similar to how we did Gemini, OpenAI also has a way to register for an API key. So first I need to put that in, right? So I'm validating it. So once I validate, so this application, I'll first demo it and then I'll show you what it actually does. So what happens is typically when I evaluate some of the proposals that are written by my students, I put comments as I'm reading it in a docx file. So, but when I am actually inputting it into an LMS system, I need all these comments to be consolidated as a user for the student's feedback. So I'm going to browse and then I'm going to put in one demo file. So while this is processing, I will probably also show you once the processing is done, what the document itself looks like so that you have an idea of it. All right. So this is processing. So if you look at it, it first gives me, it consolidates all the comments that are put into my document. So, and then it consolidates it and gives me what is the feedback, overall feedback to the student, consolidation of all of my feedback. All right. And then I've also gone ahead and asked it to evaluate this on a bunch of criteria, right? I have rubrics for problem identification, critical thinking, problem solving effort, and organization. So all of this are under three categories: developing, proficient, and exemplary. All right. So in this case, the document one shows that it is all in the developing stage. All right. So what I will do now is I will sort of switch back and stop sharing so that I can share the document itself for your reference. Okay, so what does it mean by comments, right? So that's something it's important for you to understand. So this is how a typical submission would look like, right? So as I'm reading it, I'm sort of highlighting what are the points that I would like to tell, right? Hey, what about this statistic? Is it being referred? Or is the reference correct or incorrect? So in this case, it says the trend reporting provides a good anticipation and sets the tone, right? So I'm giving positive comments. So, and then in some cases, is that a reference to this percentage? Because they have claimed nearly half of the elderly, right? So is that a reference? No reference provided. So some of these are things that I have commented all through this document. So this application essentially was built for this case where I'm essentially sort of putting all my comments and then I want I am writing my software to read all these comments and then consolidate it. So going back to the application itself, yeah, so this is how it has given the feedback and the multiple ratings according to the rubric. I'll show you all of the prompts in just a bit. So just to demo one more, I'm going to create another demo document. So whenever this is running, that's when it's actually processing. What is happening is the text of the document is extracted and then it's sort of sent to OpenAI to do two main things, right? So till now, all of our prompts have been towards achieving one task. But if you want to write a software, you're essentially doing more than one task, typically, right? So here you have feedback for your students, and then I have, in this case, it sort of said that, hey, problem identification, critical thinking aspects are proficient, whereas problem solving and organization are in the developing stage based on the comments itself. So going back to the workflow, so what's happening in this workflow, right? In this workflow, a document is being sent to the application in shorter forms. It's called an app. So that extracts the text of the document, the highlight of the text, and the comments, right? Because sometimes the comments are related to the highlights, right? So the highlighting is taken to interpret the comment. Then, of course, there is one prompt to summarize the comments for feedback to the students, right? Based on the questions I've asked, something is not clear, so that's something the student has to provide more information, right? The second prompt, it's actually a series of prompts because I'm evaluating this essay, this proposal that was written based on how have they identified the problem, what is the critical thinking, problem solving, organization. So all of these are essentially prompts, right? All of this is being used. There are clear rubrics for each of it. And that is how it sort of puts the document into the bucket. So if I agree, I accept it, or else I can use my own thing. So in my experience, I used this application quite a bit for providing feedback to the students because it summarized all that and then I could just review it, make some edits and send it to the LMs. So in the next step, what we are going to do is we are going to do a code walkthrough. So we'll see in the next video.